So that is a general for every web developer. So what the purpose of that node modules folder, right? Yeah. You can simply say that it contains all the package dependencies available for our application, right? Next important is SRC. SRC, another important SRC. Actually, SRC represents source files for the root level application project. Source files for the root level application project. Root level application project. Source files for the root level application project. It comprises of all the source files for the root level application project. That means you can see SRC. So that means SRC contains all your project related files. Actually, the main project related components are present in SRC. That means your current project related all components are present in this SRC. So in a simple way, your project related, that means you can simply say that whatever you need to build and test application, current application are defined in whatever you need to build and test current application are defined in SRC. Whatever you need to build and test current application are defined in SRC. So that means components, services, pipes, images, testing files, everything is present in this SRC folder. So our project related everything is present, means project related components. You can simply say that. That means in simple way, project components, services, pipes, all are present here. Images, etc. All are present here in SRC folder. So we will come back to this folder to understand what is present inside it. Okay. First, we will discuss the high level architecture. Okay. Next important, you can see there is a file, editor config. Actually, editor config is a configuration for code editors. Editor config is a configuration for code editors. Code editors means actually developers can use various types of editors. In a single application development itself, different IDEs. In one project, we can use different IDEs actually. Suppose you are in US, you are in UK, you are in India. Our Indian developers are using Visual Studio Code. US developers are using some Sublime or WebStorm like tools, right? Depending on their convenience, right? But all are working on same project only. And that means all are building a same application. Then important is the major problem we will face is code consistency. So that means editor config. So it helps maintain. So maintain consistent coding, coding styles for multiple developers working on the same project, working on the same project across various editors and IDEs. various editors and IDs. That means it will set certain rules so that our developers cannot violate their rules. That means our project infrastructure is same, but editors are different. Due to that, some editors have good debugging support, some editors have less debugging support, some editors requires configurations, right? That means it's not audible. I think it is audible to everyone. Is there any problem? Prakash Kumar, check yourself, right? There is no problem in the audio, right? Fine, fine. Let's continue that, right? It's maybe problem from your side. You check from your side. There is no problem for others, right? Okay, now editor config is responsible for the configurations of editors. I hope you understood the point. That means actually when we are writing the code, certain coding standards we need to maintain, the rules, so that single quote for string, double quote for string, backtick for string, which one you prefer? Better everyone follow the same approach. That means I use a double quote for string, another one uses a single quote for string. We don't want this type of uh, mismatch in the coding for the same application. Then we set some rules. Those rules you can define in editor config. In the editor config, already some rules are present. We can add some more rules to tell how it has to accept coding. For example, do you want C code type? It says single. That means in TypeScript file, whenever you are using string representation, in TypeScript earlier we use a lot of double quotes for quote, but in the default rule, it is saying that single. If I use double, will it work? It will work, no problem. But the problem, it will immediately warn you, saying that as per the coding rules, so it is recommending you single quotes. So our developers will not violate those rules, and we will follow the same approach that across different editors. That is what actually editor config is. That means whatever you need, right? That we have to define here. Means whatever you need to define in the rules of editors that you have to configure here. Already some are present, others we need to add manually. That is the intention of editor config, right? Next, you can see there is a file Git Ignore. There is a file Git Ignore. Actually, the purpose is nothing but it is specially for Git collaboration. That means it specifies intentionally untracked files, intentionally untracked files that Git should ignore. This is the point you will understand when you know how to collaborate your project with Git. So Git is the tool that we regularly use for collaborating our projects. And certain files that we don't want to track by the Git, so that no tracking, no updating are provided in the Git for those files. So in that case, such files can be defined in this Git Ignore. That means whatever the files should be ignored by Git intentionally, all such files are defined in this Git Ignore. You are not aware of Git, right? So then it is a difficult point to understand. But later when time comes, I will explain what is that actually. Means you can even collaborate